All right, we are live. We're live all over the place. So come on in. Come on in here as you're chiming in. So do me a favor as you're kind of coming in. Chime in. What city, state, name, town. But yeah, put your name and your state, and city. Thanks for coming on in. We got Williamton, North Carolina. We got Massachusetts, Chicago in the house. Beautiful. Yeah, do not be shy. Come on in. San Diego, California. We got Massachusetts. We got some East Coasters in here tonight. So chime in on Instagram if you're seeing this and on YouTube. Where are you at? Where are you at around the country tonight watching this? Houston, Texas. We got Indiana. Indiana's awesome, by the way. Awesome. Illinois, Tampa Bay, Florida. Beautiful. Chime on in. So I'm going to put up a poll, but what I want to know is mainly, why are you here? Why are you here? Typically, people are coming in for different reasons. If you came in from one of our ads online, but there's probably a deeper reason, like why you're actually here. You're interested in multifamily. Maybe it's about legacy and impact, right? Maybe it's about freedom and kind of control over your time and your future. It's identity and significance. So when you're kind of reading those Q&As right there for your poll, chime in on which one kind of hits you better. Freedom and control over your future. You want to stop feeling trapped by your job, W-2, stock market, roller coasters, all that. Option A. Option B, legacy and impact. I want something that outlives me. Generational wealth for my kids, my family, my name, everything. A deeper level about my impact, right? The impact side of it. And then the identity and the significance around all of this for multifamily. Owning apartments, right? It kind of elevates your identity and place in life and place in what you're doing. Put up another quick little poll for you. I want to get an idea of your roadblocks around multifamily. And this is for you on Instagram and YouTube and then here. What are your roadblocks? Why haven't you done it yet? And when I say multifamily, I'm talking about 5+ unit properties. 5+ unit properties. What kind of holds you back? Is it takes too much money? It's too complicated. I'm scared of losing money. I don't know how to raise money. That's usually people's biggest fear. I'm scared to death of raising money. How do you raise money? How do you do this? I've never raised any money. I don't know anybody with money. All that impact. If I get a deal, I'm fearful, scared to death I could actually do it. All of that. I don't know how to structure or finance the deals. So those are the biggest roadblocks. Which one is biggest for you? Chime in here on the poll. I think I have an idea of which ones they are. This is coming in good. But it kind of all revolves around the money, right? It's always the money. It's typically, I don't know how to raise money. Big fear and concern. And how does that work, right? How can I take some of my money with other people's money if I don't have a lot of money? And how could I do this? You don't know how to structure, right, and finance the deals, both with the debt, meaning the loan, and the equity, which is the down payment. So how do you put that together? Okay, stop sharing that. One last poll for you before we get started. What is your real estate experience? Chime in. Is it that you currently own, or that you have some rentals, or you've had some, right? You've been around the rental property a little bit. Maybe you flipped or wholesaled some deals before. Maybe you're a complete novice and you've never done this at all. So you have zero real estate experience. And or you've owned a 5+ unit property, which is a multifamily building. So if it's 5+ units, that's a multifamily. Anything less than 5 units, it's not multifamily. Okay, it's not multifamily. Here we go. Okay, so how to buy apartments in the next 90 days, right? The next 90 days if you've never done it before. So how to buy apartments in the next 90 days with little out-of-pocket capital. That is my kind of goal for you, right? And my promise is how to buy a 10 to 30 unit apartment deal in 90 days with $20,000 out of pocket. How can you do that? That's insanity. You can't even buy a single family house. How can you buy a multi-unit apartment building, 10 to 30 units for $20,000 out of pocket? If I can show you that, is that worth it to you? Thumbs up. Give me a yes if that's worth it to you. Thumbs down if that is not. Because you're going to have 2 options to pull this off. And we're going to get into these. And these are important. These are important because we're going to talk about shifting an identity. This is not just about hey, how do you pull it off? This is about, hey, how do I shift the way I'm thinking about the economy, capitalism, what I'm currently doing in the economy, my job, my role, my profession, how can I move money? All these things are critically important if you want to pull this off the correct way, and everybody can do it. If you're watching, everybody can do this. Trust me. No one is an expert when they get started. And we're going to get through that limiting belief, get through that. But you have two options when you play this game. You have option A, which is trying to do it all with your own money, which is why none of you have started. Because you're thinking, like you said, I need too much money. It costs too much money. I don't know how to raise money. I don't know how to. It's all around the money and the capital side, which is why you don't even put one foot in front of the other and you stop. Because you're sitting here with this mindset and this identity around the money in the game. So we're going to take it from here and we're going to launch it to here. And we're going to go into option B, which is, hey, how do you play the game of money? How do you play the game of money and do this correctly? Raise capital, find deals, put them together, and become extremely valuable to putting stuff like this in place. So here we go. So option A or option B, we're going to focus here, but I'm going to walk you through the process I went through because this is where we started. This is where I started. And I had to learn this and change my identity around how this game is done to skyrocket. And I'm going to walk you through that. Okay, so state of the end, do me a favor. Real Estate Radar, I'll give you a chance to try all that out. It's a direct-to-owner software that we have. And also, I have a 3-day event. If you like what you're seeing today and you want to dive 3 days with me in depth and take what you're about to see deep, deep, deep on it with everything you can imagine, stay with me. Because what that's going to really entail is going through a 90-day blueprint, how to find, fund, close your first 10 to 30 unit deal with little out-of-pocket cash, live deal analysis and training, creative financing, capital raising. I'm going to have live experts. I got brokers coming in. I have property managers. I have capital guys. I have kind of an inspiration panel that are right in the middle of it. So you'll be going through all of that with me. We have a full document vault. So you'll be getting checklists, pitch decks, deal analyzers, anything you can possibly fathom that you'll ever need to buy an apartment complex. That's all part of it. So stay with me to the end on that. So let's talk about mindset. Because I told you this is the critical piece to all of this, is the mindset game. How can we take you from where you're at to where you want to go and change this limiting belief system that a lot of us have? Okay? So this is critical. We're going to shift this on you. Motivation around this, I need you to understand a few things. You can do this. You are smart enough. You got this, baby. Okay? You got this. You can do this. You are smart enough, and you got this. I was nowhere different. This would have been back in 2010, but really 2018 when I started to shift my money and mindset game around how this is done, when it was showed to me how this game is played and how you can go from 0 to hero if you want to do this. We're going to walk through that. Some of the roadblocks. We already talked about some of these already, okay? But I want to go through these again. It takes too much money. It's too complicated. I'm scared to lose money. I don't know how to raise money. I don't know how to structure or finance the deals. These are all the things you guys all chimed in on a few minutes ago. I don't know how to, I'm sorry, I already make good money currently in my job. So I'm comfortable. Not a lot of motivation. If that's cool, that maybe that's you, then, maybe this is not the right fit for you. And that's okay. If you're not trying to level up your game, it's okay. But this may not be the right fit for you, okay? I need to quit my current job. No, you do not. Nobody quits what they're currently doing to get into this game. What will happen, no different than I did, is I started making enough money in the multifamily space where I could leave within a couple years. I could leave what I was doing to play this game full time. But you don't quit anything. Multifamily is too risky. No, it's not. It's one of the safest assets in the world. Remember, people need 3 things. They need what? Food, water, shelter. Food, water, shelter. That's what they need. And they either rent or they own. They rent or they own. And in this day and age, more people are renting than owning, and that game is shifting. So all you're doing is providing great housing, and you're doing it at low leverage, meaning you're not putting a lot of debt, right, or loans and stuff on these properties. So you're keeping low leverage, low debt, fixed rate interest rates, so everything's pretty conservative and tied up, and you're good to go. You pay for all the expenses, the property pays for everything, the tenants pay for everything, and that way you cash flow. So it's very, very risk averse, okay? I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want you to be a landlord either, which is why you need to learn how to hire good property managers. And we're going to go through that. Okay. I don't have the time to take something big like this on. If you have 1 to 2 hours a day, 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 to 10 hours a week, 1 to 2 hours a day, 5 to 10 hours a week, you can pull this off. That's where I started. Everybody that starts in this space, that's where they start. So chiming into the chat, all of you here and all of you here and all of you here, do you have 1 to 2 hours a day that if this makes sense, you would actually dedicate that and go execute? Could you pull that off? Would you want to pull that off? Could you dedicate that time after work, in and out of work, some weekends, whatever it is? Could you go that and make that happen? Okay. Because that's all it takes, right? This is not some gargantuous thing where you're jumping off and making some crazy commitment on time. You have a job and a career and things you're currently doing. And you have to stick to those because those pay the bills for you and your family. All the meanwhile, you're learning and growing and getting into the space and then executing. And then at some point, you'll be making enough from this that you can jump off and you can make it all happen. Perfect. Okay, let's keep going. So this is your identity shift. I'm going to take you from this mindset of active money, and we're going to move you into the more passive money. Now, there's nothing truly passive. You know that. Everybody knows nothing is truly passive. It always takes some effort. Now, the goal in the beginning is, yeah, you got to get it running, but then it does become more passive, I call it, more passive. But I need to take you out of this transactional game that a lot of people are in and move you to the passive belief system that, hey, this is where all the financial freedom's at. All that stuff you mentioned there that you want, legacy, impact, all that stuff, it's all sitting here. But a lot of people are playing here because they have to. This is what society tells us. This is what capitalism starts to tell us. Go to school, get a job, right? All that typical stuff is all sitting right here. It's not teaching you this. And that's where we're going to go. Contributor versus creator. So I just showed you this, right? Active and passive. It's essentially the same thing here. Contributor versus creator. Contributor versus creator. Has anybody heard these terms before? Chime in the chat if you've heard a contributor versus creator before. Anybody heard those before? Sounds like yes, yes. Beautiful. Okay, awesome. So what does that mean? If I tell you this and I ask you this question, money is, fill in the blank for me. I already gave you a hint a little bit earlier. What is money to you? If you have to fill in that gap for money, what is money? Money is blank. Freedom. You said freedom. Anybody else? Don't be shy. Time. Okay? Freedom, time. Love it. Keep coming. Security. Okay. And these are all right. Nothing wrong with them. Except the truth is this. Money is a game. And this is what I have on my screen right here is the United States capitalistic system. This was explained to me a few years back. And once I understood this, I was like, holy shit. Like, that's never been explained to me that way before. Now the light bulb went off and I was like, that makes complete sense. So I'm going to regurgitate it to you and see if this makes sense for you. In the United States capitalistic system, you have two groups of people. You have contributors and you have creators. You have contributors and you have creators. The contributors are W-2 employees. You're working for the man. You have a job, you collect a paycheck, and you work for somebody else. These also could be solopreneurs, right? Solopreneurs, where you don't have a job, you own a job, okay? Creators, these are all the business owners and investors, and I'll show you this in a bigger way here in just a second. So creators create products and services. They move them into the market, okay? They come over here to the contributors. They're consumed by the contributors, and the money leaves the pocketbooks of the contributors, and it moves over to the pocketbooks of the creators. And then the cycle continues. And that is it. These people get all the IRS benefits. These people do not get the IRS benefits. IRS benefits and tax write-offs. Very few tax write-offs and IRS benefits. Why is that? I'm curious. Chime in. Why do you think that the IRS does not give many tax write-offs to contributors, and they give all the tax write-offs to creators? Chime in the chat. Why do you think? And it's not out of the goodness of their heart. It's not out of the goodness of their heart. Why do you think the IRS and the capitalistic system gives all the benefits and tax write-offs to the creators, to business owners and investors? This is how they encourage commerce. It's a good question. It's a good answer to that one. That is how they encourage things, keeps the money flowing to encourage small businesses, okay? The creators create jobs, employment, which just turns into generating tax revenue. It's all about assets, the numbers game for sure. There you go. Okay, you're all on to something. Okay, you're all on to something. That is correct. This whole thing comes down to movement of money. Movement of money. The more money you move in the U.S. capitalistic system, the IRS loves you more. So therefore, the more money you move, the more tax benefits you get. Let me give you a perfect example. When a multifamily building sells, 5, 10, 15, 20 unit, 100 unit building, on average, how many industries or jobs do you think are affected by one single multifamily commercial building selling? Chime in the chat. How many industries or jobs do you think are affected by one single transaction in the commercial real estate space, i.e. multifamily apartment building? Is it 10, 20, 30? How many industries and jobs do you think are affected by one single transaction in a commercial? Okay. David says lots. Craig says 30, 20. Okay. Yep. Between 50 to 80. Between 50 to 80 jobs and industries are affected by a single multifamily building transacting. And the movement of money in that process helps create all of that. So this is why what the IRS will do is they're going to give the creator that made that happen all the tax benefits here. Because they're moving all the money, they're creating this happening, so all these people, because they're the contributors typically, are going to pay all the taxes. So they're moving money. That way they create opportunities. Those people make money. These 50 or 80 are making money. But they're not making the money the same way these people are making money. These people are working for somebody collecting a W-2 paycheck. And that W-2 pays what? Taxes, payroll, all the other things that happen. So that flows through. The IRS gets a bunch of tax revenue. Everything keeps going. And they encourage, more, move the money, create the opportunities, pay the taxes. Tax revenue goes up. And that is the capitalistic system as we know it. So if you want all the tax benefits and you want all the write-offs and you want all the freedom and you want all the time and you want all those things, you got to play the game here. You got to get out of that. Does anybody know who that guy is? Does anybody know who that guy is? Chime in if you're watching this right now. Who is that guy? You're chiming in the chat. Yeah, it's Robert Kiyosaki. I think if you don't know that guy, then I don't know if anybody doesn't know that guy. So that is Robert Kiyosaki. That is the rich dad, poor dad, as everybody knows him. But this is his cash flow quadrants, and you've probably seen these before. You fall into one of four categories or a combination of them. If you're an employee, you're W-2, earning a paycheck. You have a job. The other one over here is self-employed. You don't have a job, now you own one. You're a solopreneur, realtor, solo plumber, solo dentist, solo attorney, solo this. You don't have a team, you don't have a business, it is you. If you leave and go on vacation, the revenue stops and the party ends. That is a solopreneur. You are self-employed, okay, self-employed. A business owner, you can go on vacation and sit on the beach in Tahiti and the revenue's still going, the bank account's still going up. That is a business owner. Okay, so they're in the creator stage. Investors, I'm moving my money around. I'm putting it into things that are generating revenue for me. Therefore, I'm in the creator space over here. So you have contributors and you have creators. Does this make sense? Thumbs up in the chat if this makes sense. Thumbs down if it does not. Because this is the money game. This is the money game. And if you want to get wealthy and if you want to play this game, you have to understand how this works and how to get involved in it, how to increase your skill sets to a level where they're going to get to where you can earn a disproportionate amount of money to the effort you give. Because remember, this was a great quote that was told to me a few years back. Your income is directly related to the problems you solve. Your income is directly related to the problems you are currently solving for society. So if you are solving $1,000 problems, that's why you're making thousands of dollars. If you're solving six-figure problems, this is why you get to make $100,000 or more per year. And if you're solving million-dollar problems, this is why you get to make millions of dollars. That's where the multifamily game comes in. If you can increase your skill set and knowledge, the ability to find good deals, analyze them quickly, determine if it's a good deal, put it together, structure it, financing it with you and other people, close it and get it managed, that is an extremely valuable skill set. You're extremely valuable to people now. You're solving big problems with money. Therefore, you get to make bling bling. That's how it works. Skill set goes up, level goes up, solves big problems, therefore bling bling. And that is why the multifamily game is in the creator space, right? And I call it your passive with passion. Your passive with passion. Because money is a great motivator to get started, but it will not keep you going once you've made it. Okay, it will not keep you going once you've made it. If you hit a few $100,000 or a few million or whatever it is, and now you've made some money, right? This is why people fall into comfortability, because they're not driven, they're not passionate anymore, they're not fulfilled, even though they're making great money. It's because they're not driven with the passive with passion. So the multifamily game is in the creator space. And if you want that freedom, that time, if you want all these things that you were talking about earlier as we got started, this is where you have to play the game. We have to move out of this, move out of the contributor world, move out of the active money, which is a job, the employee or the self-employed, and move into the category of business owner investor. But all of you know this already. You do. And intuitively, you know this. It's just a question, okay, great, Justin. Thanks for like the Tony Robbins. How do we do this? How do we make this happen? That's what we're going to get into. So here we go. You guys having fun so far? Hopefully. Hopefully. So let's get in this kind of this passive with passion thing. Has anybody ever seen this before? This is called the 7 mountains that move a nation and inspire people. 7 mountains that move a nation and inspire people. And I want you to look at this and pay attention to it. You have sports and culture. You have family. This is also philanthropy, by the way, not just family. Media, government, business, education, and religion. Okay? I think I have a poll. I'm going to put this up. I want you to think about for yourself. Outside of money, which is business, right? Because that's the business side right here, right? That's the money. Outside of the business, what other, say, 3 on this board really get you moving? And I'm going to put a poll up for it because it's going to help answer this. Let's put this up. What are your mountains? I'm launching this poll. What are your mountains? Pick any 3 other than business. So business is one of them. It's always going to be for people. What other ones really get your belly on fire? When you think about it, okay, if I had $1 million in cash right now and I didn't have to go to work for the remainder of this year, where would I put my time? Where would I put my time? Would it be towards passions and sports and culture and entertainment? Into my family and philanthropy and giving back, helping others? Maybe it's media. Maybe you want to rise up and do podcasts and media and all the other stuff. Maybe you love politics. Maybe you love educating and helping people. Maybe religion, your church and religion and other things are really passionate to you and you want to push on that. Well, the reason you're not spending all your time in those things is because you're focused so much on the business side of turning money that you have to, right? You're just trying to make it happen, but you don't have enough time to go there. And that's what you're trying to achieve. It's the freedom, the time, right? The freedom and the time. Yeah, so looking at this poll, this is great, by the way. So everybody's chiming in. I think you guys will not be surprised. So we got family is a big one. All the other ones are pretty even, though. We got religion, government, business, education, sports, culture, entertainment. All of them are pretty good leaders. All of them are pretty good leaders. So let me walk through this exercise the way I did for myself. And I did this a few years ago because I was chasing money, right? And money was it. I wanted the money. Wasn't getting fulfilled. I would make a bunch, but then I still wasn't fulfilled. And then I wasn't staying motivated because I'm like, okay, I've made the money, but then I fall back into it. I'm not fulfilled. Like I need energy every day to like fly out of bed. That's like deep in me. It's deep in me that gets me excited every day, well beyond making $1. And so I went to a conference a couple of years ago. I learned this process and I put it in for myself. And ever since then, it's like, you get excited every day because you're not chasing the money anymore. Now it's purpose, right? Passive, right? Passive with purpose, passive with passion. So here's how it works for me. You got to have the resources. So the business drives the money, right? These 4 companies that I have drive the money and drive the resources. So now you have all the bling bling. Now what do I do with it? For me, a passion for me is the media side of it. How can we raise awareness, speak about big things, and get it out to the public? So media is a big thing for me, which is why, okay, that's a drive and a passion for me. And I've been able to meet a ton of people because of it. So that's the other one, okay? Keep moving. Education and family and philanthropy. Why do you think you're here tonight? Why do you think you're here tonight? We're here to help. We're here to help. And you're going to understand this in just a minute. But the education side and helping others and giving back and teaching others how to do what I do, that I do it in every single day, and how can we help others, is a big picture behind this, big vision behind this. And then the family, but this is also philanthropy. How do you give back and help others? So I have 3 organizations that I am most passionate about. Number 1 is Tunnels to Towers. Tunnels to Towers. If you have not heard of this organization, I'm a huge proponent of it. Why? It started back in 9/11. I don't know if any of you guys remember when this started, but when the towers fell from 9/11, this organization came out of that, because you had a lot of spouses left behind with children when their husbands, right, went into the buildings, went into fire, came out, firefighters, police officers, all killed. And so now this wife is left behind with kids, wasn't the provider, all of a sudden is now having to be the provider and freaking out, which makes sense. Don't know what to do. Well, this organization comes in and pays off their mortgage, gives them a free and clear house for the rest of their life, and gives them safety and security so they can raise their children. And that's how it started. And then it went to soldiers and helping wounded and military and all these first responders, right? People that serve our nation. And then if you have a person fall in the line of duty, they're going to come in and pick up the tab and give you a free and clear mortgage. So my dream is to pay off 1,000 mortgages through Tunnels to Towers. It's a big dream of mine. I'm on my way. That's number 1. Number 2, SEAL Future Foundation. Navy SEALs have one of the highest suicide rates of any of our military personnel, period. And the reason why is, you can imagine, they go from this heroic kind of camaraderie, and then all of a sudden they got to jump into civilian life when the party's over. They can't really comprehend that too well. Quite honestly, they can't even figure out why people are so petty. I mean, think about it. They're worried. People are worried about what creamer they got in their Starbucks coffee, and if the barista got it wrong yesterday. And you have a Navy SEAL sitting there, dude, I was just in Afghanistan worried about where I was getting my head blown off. So now they have to jump into this world of civilian life from the SEAL life, and they just can't comprehend that, both physically, mentally, and then financially. And so the SEAL Future Foundation comes in, wraps their arms around them, gets them hopefully to avoid suicide, and helps move them and transition them into civilian life through financials, through mental, through health, all the above. It helps protect our SEALs and our team guys. So I'm big on that, mainly because my whole family is military. My dad was Army, grandfather was Navy commander in the submarines, business partner, former Marine. I got Navy SEAL friends all over San Diego because we pretty much train 80% of all the SEALs in the world. So really big on the SEAL Future Foundation. Last one is disadvantaged kids. And I think we can all get behind this one, because everybody has different starting points, right? You too. Not everybody, grows up poor. Not everybody grows up rich. Everybody has a different starting point in their life, and you're not responsible for that. It's not your fault. It's not your fault where you came into this world, whether you're rich, poor, indifferent, doesn't really matter. It's not your fault. You didn't control the starting point, but you are responsible for how you finish. Okay. You are responsible for how you finish and how you go. So you may not be responsible for how you got in this place, but you are responsible for how you go out. And so that's how we can come in, and we can provide disadvantaged kids in tough environments that have tough households, role model and a belief system. Role model and a belief system. And it is incredible what happens when you watch these kids who had really bad environments, maybe abuse, you name it, right? You can just fathom it up. And you take them and you position them with a role model and a belief system that, hey, there's more out there. You can go do this. It is shocking. They go from 0 to hero, right? It's unbelievable, right? So that is a huge passion of mine, right? I was fortunate enough. I grew up pretty good, but I can't imagine if I didn't, but how incredible would it be if I had that in place? So these are big, once again, these are passions. So now what do? I go make all the money to go help people give back through education and media, to then give back to family and philanthropy, my personal family, kids, all that stuff. But you see, now it went from just making money to now passive with passion. I want you to do the same thing, because that's going to be your driver. I hope that makes sense. Thumbs up if that makes sense. Love it. Yeah, this is cool. Eric, I love seeing that. Thank you for the kind words. But that's what it's all about. That is what it's all about. And you know, we can make all the money in the world, but if you don't put purpose behind that, this is why you're going to feel unfulfilled. This is why a lot of people feel unfulfilled, because they're not driving with a greater purpose. Okay. So buying apartments, I talked about it earlier. If you can raise your skill set and solve big problems, you get to make lots of bling bling. Okay. If you can learn how to execute these 5 steps in buying apartment buildings, you get to make a lot of bling bling. Find good deals. Numero uno. How do you analyze them quickly to determine if it's a good deal? Number 3, how do you finance, structure, and capitalize that, both with your money and other people's money? How do you close escrow on that thing correctly, not get yourself in a money pit? And then lastly, how do you hire property managers correctly so you're not dealing with toilets and tenants every single day? Because you have a job, you have things you're doing, and you can't be picking up phones dealing with toilets and tenants every day. You got to make sure that you're handling your business with your family and earning that income to make this transition over into this stuff. But this is critically important. If you can learn these, which I'm going to teach you, we're going to focus really here on this and this a little bit and a few other ones, because the money and the finding are definitely the biggest parts for people on some of the roadblocks. Okay. So this was my first deal. This was my first deal. It was in 2010 in the midst of the financial crisis. Does anybody remember the financial crisis? That was fun. That was fun. First deal was a $100,000 condo. $25,000 down, $75,000 loan from Wells Fargo. You listen, cash on cash return was incredible. Wasn't a ton of money each month, but it was respectable. But it was our first deal, and it was a condo. And that's how we did it. And that's how we started. And I'm going to show you that if I could like go back and redo this all, right? Everybody has this, hey, if I could start over, this is what would happen. So this is kind of some stuff that happened during the financial crisis. My dad, you know, rest in peace, Big Papa. But, you know, he lost it all in the financial crisis. He was that kind of transitional character in our family. I learned a lot from my grandmother growing up. You know, she was 91 when she passed away, but she started the real estate kind of family journey a little bit as a broker, and then got into doing some apartments a little bit. But she was driving around in a little S10 Chevy truck. She's 91 years old, collecting rent from people. I mean, a little Italian woman. She's crazy. God bless her soul. But she gave that information to my dad. My dad really took it. He was that transitional person in our family, 0 to hero. Completely self-made, had a really bad childhood. His dad died when he was 3. Stepdad beat the shit out of him for most of his life. He had to learn a lot of this stuff. Went off to Vietnam, was a door gunner in Vietnam out of the choppers. Average lifespan was 7 days. Okay, so you can imagine the horror that he saw for most of his youth and his life. Made him very angry, right? Had an Irish temper problem, for sure. But it also made him very hungry and ambitious. And he came back from Vietnam, got into the real estate world a little bit, didn't like doing sales, then started building stuff, little homes and stuff. And then got into bigger stuff and started building little apartment complexes, condo complexes and stuff, and then went rocket ship. And his income throughout that cycle would mimic the real estate cycles, would mimic economies. So it was very up and down, but he'd make a lot of money, lose a bunch of money, make a bunch of money, lose a bunch of money. And it was through that for most of my childhood, getting to watch that. It was both great and then also like chaotic, because you'd have it and lose it, have it and lose it, have it and lose it. And you go through these cycles. And what it taught me is like the importance of consistency in cash flow, which is why I loved apartments. And when I watched this happen in 2008, it was a massive bankruptcy that my dad went through. I mean, it triggered in my brain, hey, when I do this myself, I'm going to do it based off cash flow. I'm going to be basing it off lower leverage and basing it on something that is consistent and risk adverse, but also in real estate where it can grow and there's big wins you can still have. And that's why multifamily came about. It's one of the most risk adverse assets in real estate because the tenants are paying for everything. You have a lower leverage that's fixed rate interest rates on the debt. And you can sit back and leverage everything from cash flows to profits to refinancing, tax benefits. Everything comes in and out of that thing, and you can get extremely rich because you're solving massive problems. So therefore, you get massive benefits. Okay, that's that cycle. So the resilient mind, I would say this is probably the number one things that I have been able to put inside for me. How many people in here believe that they have a strong, resilient mind? Because I can't tell you how important this is. I can't stress it enough. Anybody can get going. But when SHIT hits the fan and things get rough and you got to put your big boy pants on and you're going to see who's really standing there with a backbone, the resilient mind is going to get you through it. You'll see who's a coward real quick, who quivers and runs, tucks tail, doesn't stand there. So I'm curious, do you think you have a resilient mind? Because if you can develop this, like I had to develop it going through all the things I've gone through, holy cow, you're like a rock. To be honest, depends on who's around you. I love that. I love that. Hey, listen, man, you just gotta, it's a train, and your brain's a muscle. Your brain is a muscle. You never take no for an answer. There you go. There's always a way, baby. Don't ever quit. Don't ever quit. See this? What do you think this stands for? Anybody know? What does that stand for? What does that stand for? So the 2008 financial crisis, I go through that, become an asset manager for a lot of the major banks. So I went from development to be an asset manager behind the scenes of the banks during the crisis. Had my real estate broker's license in 2010. I came out, started selling homes and doing a ton of short sales during that time, if you can remember it. But that's also when we started buying property, right here in 2010. And then 2018 was our big year. Let me explain. So in 2010, we got our first deal, like I told you, 1 unit, $100,000. 8 years go by, we accumulated 20 units and $3.5 million. 8 years, 20 units, $3.5 million. Now we thought we'd made it. When I say we, my business partner and I, we're like, oh man, this is great. We're gonna retire. No, we didn't know what we didn't know. Remember I told you that this is when I understood and I learned the game of money, OPM, other people's money. Let me ask you a question here and here. Let's take the richest people in the world, because they figured this out. How much of Tesla does Elon Musk own? Richest guy in the world or second richest guy in the world now? How much of Tesla does Elon Musk own? He has his money with other people's money. What percentage of it does he give away? What percentage of it does he hold? Eric says 50%, 35%, less than 10%. Ooh, Craig, you nailed it. He owns less than 10% of a company that he runs and controls. Larry Ellison, Oracle, same thing, right? Less than 25%, richest guy in the world as of a few days ago. You have Amazon, right? Jeff Bezos. How much of Amazon does he own? Less than 15%. Mark Zuckerberg, Meta, keep going. What did they master? They mastered the game of OPM. So this kind of taught me this game of money. They were business owners and they were investors. Business owners and investors, they were creators. They weren't contributors. They understood this game of money, how to scale money. You need other people to do it. Your money with other people's money, and you learn that skill set, it's extremely valuable. So we figured that out. I said, okay, Chris, here we are. We have 20 units and $3.5 million of assets. We own 100% of it. Okay, that's cool. But we want to scale and grow. How do we do this? How can we take the money from here and scale it, learn a skill set to pull this off? And anybody can do this, by the way. All of you can do this. I knew nothing about this when I started back in 2018. It took me about a year to figure it out and then launched. Okay, but that's because I didn't have any help. I was out there on my own doing YouTube. We didn't even have ChatGPT then. Now we do. But I was figuring it all out on my own, trying to research this game. In 2018, 20 units, 3.5 million. We owned 100% of it. Okay. You go past, this was by 2021. Okay. So you got 3 years. We go from this to over 1,000 units and $180 million, of which we own 40%. And now it's over 200 million, 40% of 200 million, or 100% of 3. You can do the math. 40% of 200 million or 100% of 3 million. Same money, moved it, scaled it. No different than Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Larry Ellison. They do it with companies, we do it with apartments. Same movement of money. We understood and we learned the game of OPM, other people's money. Because one thing we understood, and all of you need to understand here, everybody, and I mean everybody, loves to invest in real estate. That is not your problem. You just need a good deal that makes financial sense, and they need to say, oh, I think I like you. I'm okay. I'll give you 25 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand. I like the deal. I want to make money on it. This is cool. You run the show. I'll collect my checks. Rock and roll. That is the cusp of it. But that is the main cusp of it. Make sense? We're going to get into that in some more detail. We get into that in more detail. But that's how we did it. So our first apartment deal was a 27 unit. 27 unit in the Midwest. We took it from this, right, looking pretty grungy, moved it over to here, sold this thing, made about $1 million on it, a little over $1 million total. Okay, moved it from here to here. 27 unit was our first deal. I had to raise about $900,000 for my first deal. Most people, you don't need to raise that much. I did, and I didn't have any training on how to do it when I first got started. I was scared to death. I was scared to death. We got the notification, we got the deal, and I'll never forget it because I was actually in Kansas City. I was driving around and I said, hey, congratulations, you got the deal. And I was like super excited for about 30 seconds. And then I started hyperventilating right after that. Because I was like, oh shit, like I need to go get the loan now. I don't have all the money. Like, how do I go get the money? So I had to like learn this like on the go within this escrow period of 60 days. It ended up being 90, where we got to close on the deal. And then we locked it. And that was it. That was our first deal. Okay. So how can you buy a 10 to 30 unit apartment building in the next 90 days with $20,000 out of pocket? Well, we need to buy a few limiting belief systems. The biggest ones here that you need a lot of money to get started. We're going to nix that here in a second. The belief that multifamily is too complex and it's for experts only. We're going to nix that one here as well. And then the last biggest one is deals are hard to find. The market's oversaturated. I'm going to break through these top ones. I showed you some other ones earlier, but the biggest ones are around the money. You talked about it. I don't know how to finance. I don't know how to find the money. I don't know how to raise the money. I'm scared of raising money. I'm scared of losing money. It's 9 times out of 10 all around the money. And that is totally normal. But we need to get over that, right? We have to change this identity shift and move away from that and make it happen. So that's what we're going to focus leading through here. So let's start with the first one. The belief that you need a lot of money to get started. Let's break down a deal. Let's say that this is a 10 unit. Actually, no, let's say that it's a 15 unit. Okay, it's a 15 unit deal. So that's $100,000 per unit. Okay, $1.5 million, 15 units, that's $100,000 per unit. That's the price of the property. We go in and we renovate the property. We put in $100,000 in renovations. Closing costs, that's what CC stands for, is closing costs, $50,000. Our total all in is $1,650,000. We're going to go out with a local commercial bank and we're going to get a loan on the property from the local commercial regional bank there. They're going to give us about 70% debt on that property. Getting this $1,150,000 loan is easier than getting a $200,000 house loan. Why? Why do you think it's easier to go get a $1,150,000 loan on a commercial property, far more than $200,000 residential house loan? Why will they give you that before they'll give it to you on a house of 200 grand? Why do you think that is? Chime in. Alexander says, because you have income coming in. There you go. Farada says, tell us. I will tell you. But you're on the track here because it's treated as a business. Boom! Who's just said that? I love that. There you go. It's treated as its own business. It's no different than the subway down the street. The apartment building is its own operating business. It's literally no different than the Starbucks that you just gave your $5 or $19 to. It's the same thing. It has revenue, it's got expenses, and it has a profit. In this case, with properties, with multifamily or rental income properties, it's net operating income. That's your profit before you pay your debt, right? Before you pay your mortgage. So with that in mind, they're going to use the property's financials to substantiate this loan, not you. You are secondary in the process, right? They don't care nearly about your credit. You don't really care about your income, right? All of that stuff is completely secondary in the marketplace. They want to ensure that the property can stand on its own with or without you. So you are secondary. Now we talk about this. This is what usually stops most people. Or you're like, yeah, cool, Justin, so I can get the loan, but I don't have the down payment. I understand you don't. Here's how the game works. You, as the general partner, that's what you're called in this game. You're the general partner. You're going to come in with 10% of the money. For that, you're going to get about 40% of the deal. Okay? 40% of the deal. The rest of it, OPM, this is our limited partners, they're going to bring in 90% of the money. And for that, they're going to get about 60% of the deal. Okay? So that is how the game of money is going to work. Now, the coolest part about this is there's also fees and things that are built into these things that you get when you're the general partner putting these things together. One of them comes right out the gate. It's called an acquisition fee, typically 2 to 3% of the purchase price. So in this instance, in this case, I come in with 10%, that's 50 grand. I get 40% of the deal, as we talked about. I get an acquisition fee of, say, in this case, call it 2%. That's 30 grand, right? 30 grand. So then if I come in with 50 and I get 30 out literally within a week of closing on the deal, how much money do I physically have out of pocket? Chime in the chat. You know the answer. You know the answer. You got 20,000 bucks. 20,000 bucks. So I just showed you how you can take down a 15-unit multi-million-dollar asset structured this way for $20,000 out of pocket. The only thing stopping you from executing this is the skill set and the know-how of how to do it. That's it. Because if you knew how to do this, like I know how to do this now, you can execute this all day long. You need to, number one, find a good deal. Find a good deal, the money will find you. Find a good deal, the money will find you. Money loves making money, and it loves making money fast. And everybody wants to invest in real estate. That is not your problem. People just need a good deal to invest with and a trustworthy person to invest alongside. That's it. Everything else will find its way. So this is critical. So I think we checkmarked this one. The fact that you think you need a lot of money to get started, you just don't. So I get this question quite a bit. Justin, I'd like to make $10,000 to $20,000 a month in income from doing apartments. Because if I could make that, then I could probably leave what I'm currently doing. So this is how this pulls off. 3 to 4 deals on average in the 10 to 30 unit space will produce $2,500 to $4,000 per month per deal. Okay? So if you're sitting yourself, 3 to 4 deals will get you in that ballpark that you're talking about. And it's a matter of planning that out. So if you have a game plan, you're saying, okay, in the next 2 years or 3 years or whatever it is, I want to leave my current job, maybe not, maybe you want to keep it. But if you can earn an extra $10,000 to $20,000 a month, which gives you now more passive to passion income, now you have more time, freedom, the things you're looking for. But that's how you get there, right? And this is like physically making this happen and putting it into reality for you. You land 3 to 4 deals in that space, you're done. Okay. Another question I get, how much time is needed each week to do this? Because everybody's super busy. Maybe you have kids, maybe you don't. You got a career, you got a job, you got all this stuff, right? All these other things that are pulling your time. Soccer practices and all these other things. I get it. I went through the exact same thing. 1 to 2 hours, right, per day, 5 to 10 hours a week, you'll execute the game. Execute the game. No different than I did. This is how I made it happen. 2010, that's when we started buying properties. I was a realtor. I jumped out in the realtor world, working 8, 10 hours a day, 100% commissioned. So if you have a W-2 paycheck, you're in a better position than I was. Because I was having to hustle there, 100%. Then I had to come home. Family time, kids, all that stuff, bath time, all the things that happen. Kids go to bed. 8:30 rolls around. Dad, rather than sitting on the couch with my thumb in my you-know-what, I am making things happen for my family. I'm on the computer trying to find deals, analyze them, write offers. Find deals, analyze them, write offers. Because I want to make this jump. Okay? And it took me a little bit of time. Boom, within 2 to 3 years, out. And that's how the game worked. You can do the exact same thing, a couple hours a night. You'll learn it. Find, analyze, write offers as a starting point. Everything else comes after that. So the belief that you need a lot of money to get started, just not the case. So I ask all of you, if you found, right, say a 20-unit deal that made financial sense in the next 3 months by the end of the year, could you get access, or do you have $20,000 to $50,000 right now that you could go take advantage of that deal right now? Chime in the chat if the answer is yes. If it's no, it's okay too. You can still learn. You just may not be able to execute, right? Still learn. You just may not be able to execute because you do need some capital, guys. Right? This is not a game like, despite all the beautiful gurus out there trying to tell you no money out of pocket. I don't need any money, zero money down, all that. No, that's not reality, right? That's pie in the sky. You know, could you do it? Yes, technically you can do it. But you're going to get such a small piece of that deal, and you're going to be so irrelevant in that deal, you wouldn't even want to do it anyways. Okay. So the answer is no, yes, 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 no, no, yes, yes. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. And that's all it is. 20 to 50K liquid capital, or you can access it through a partner, whatever it is, you can go play in this game. Okay. You can go play in this game. Okay. Number 2 belief system we're going to knock out is that it's too complex. I need to be an expert. None of these people are experts or were experts when they got started. Young, old, indifferent, starting at different ages, from their 20s all the way up to their 50s and 60s, right? They had to learn it. It is a skill set that you learn. And when you learn it, you can execute it. And now you become extremely valuable because now you're solving big problems for people. You're solving it for yourself and your family, and you're solving it for others. Because there is a lot, everybody wants to invest in real estate. They do. I've never met anybody that doesn't. They just need a good deal that makes sense and a trusted source like you. I like you. I want to give you my money because I trust you. Once you have those two lined up, everything else flows in. But you don't have to be an expert. It's all learned. It's all learned. Okay. Hayden and Matt, perfect example, right? Younger guys. He's a realtor. He's in the, I believe the tech space, if I'm not mistaken. I may have that wrong. Former realtors, tech guys. First deal was 10 units. Second deal, 28. Third deal, 33. And they kind of graduated up, and now they're looking for much bigger deals now, right? Didn't know anything when they got started. Had to learn it all. Steve Parker, general contractor. He doesn't look like a general contractor in that photo, but he's a general contractor. Upper Midwest, his first deal was in Cleveland, Ohio. Cleveland, Ohio. 39 units. Got a huge tax abatement deal on that thing too. Didn't know any of this stuff. He had to learn it. He had to go from that zero to hero and make it happen. You take someone like Brian, he had a dog training company, right? Lives in Los Angeles with his wife. He's got kids and a wife and everything now. But his first deal was 22 units. Second deal was 30 something. And he's just looking at a 56 unit right now on his third deal, graduating up. You can go check out any of our reviews on Trustpilot. That's always fun. Does anybody know any of these faces? Because none of them were experts. That's the point I'm trying to make behind that. I don't care if it's Grant Cardone, Robert Martinez, Carlos Reyes, Ryan Pineda, Mr. Brandon Turner, very cool dude. None of them were experts when they got started. None of them. They all had to learn it. They all had to learn it. But you know what? They had a vision for where they wanted to go. They wanted to make things happen for their families. They stepped up to it. They learned the skill sets that raised their game. Now they solve bigger problems. They get to make bigger money. And that's how it worked. That's how it worked. So the belief that it's too complex and it's for experts only, just not the case. You bring one of two things to the table. You bring the money, which is the check equity, or you bring the knowledge and the skill set, which is the sweat equity. In the beginning, in 2010, I was getting my butt handed to me. I did not have the money. That 25 grand on our first deal, I did not bring that in. I didn't even sign on the loan. I went and found a business partner. I brought this. I was very good at this. I said, Chris, I can go find us the deals. I can analyze them. I can put them together. I can run the company. I can do all of it. I can close and I can do the management. I'm extremely valuable in my skill sets now. You're going to bring in the money because I don't have it right now. You're going to sign on our first loans because I can't right now. And let's create the company and split it 50-50. Bada bing, bada boom. That is how it started. So you have to ask yourself, if you don't have all the money, that's okay. You better learn this. Because if you don't have either one of these, you're up shit's creek. You got to have one or the other. So if you don't have this, this is easier to get because you can learn this. You can learn this. You can earn this. Well, that was good. You can learn this and earn that. I like that. It's good. I'm going to have to save that one. I hope this is making sense. Sweat equity is somewhat hard to get because a lot of people unfortunately don't believe in this. So I'm choosing cash equity. Well, you can choose cash equity. And if you have it, that's beautiful, right? But not everybody has that in the beginning. But if you're knowledgeable in a skill set, trust me, people don't need to believe squat. You just show them and then they, right? Actions speak for themselves. So you don't have to do squat. The third belief system is that deals are hard to find. The market's oversaturated. That's because you're looking for deals in the wrong way, especially if you're looking in the commercial space. So by show of hands, who here knows the websites Crexy.com and LoopNet? Crexy.com and LoopNet. Crexy.com and LoopNet. Who here knows those websites? Okay, cool. Yes and yes. We got James says yes. Familiar with both? Beautiful. Okay. So when you're on these websites, do the deals make sense or do they not make sense? Chime in the chat. When you're on these websites and you're looking around, do any of those deals make sense off the get-go? Not often. They do not make sense. No, they do not. That's correct. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. Yeah, a lot of them are overpriced. That is correct. But that is simply because of how properties come to market. Okay? Simply how properties come to market. So let's talk about the direct-to-broker and the direct-to-owner approach. Okay? The belief that deals are hard to find and the market's oversaturated. If you're doing it alone, that's why it's hard, because you're looking in the wrong place. Okay? You're looking in the wrong place. The direct-to-broker approach leverages the broker's on-market listings from LoopNet and Crexy. Okay, to get access to their off-market opportunities, you're using their listings to meet them, tour properties, build relationships, and get access. Let me explain what I mean by this. Let's take a deal. You got this little multifamily apartment building. It's going to come on the market. It goes to the broker, right? Let's take the broker right here. That broker puts together what's called an OM. It's an offering memorandum. It's like a little package of documents that look all nice about the property. That broker is then going to shop that thing to about 25 to 50 of their investor, their preferred list, they call it. They're going to shop it for about 2 weeks, right? In that preferred list. If nobody bites on it, which is only about 20% of the time, by the way, but if nobody bites on that thing, then the broker's going to take it and put it on Crexy and or on LoopNet. So obviously, if these 25 or 50 sophisticated investors didn't take up the deal, that probably means what? Exactly. Which is why it goes to Crexy and LoopNet. So when you're over here, all you're getting are what's called leftovers. It's all you're seeing. And you're only seeing about 20% of the market. These are the leftovers, and it's only 20%. 80% of the market is right here and sells right here. It never makes it to that Crexy and LoopNet, ever. So this is why if you're just looking here, you're only seeing that, which is why you're frustrated. Which is why you think that the market's oversaturated and deals are hard to find, because you're never even seeing this. Because you're not learning the process of the direct-to-broker approach, the correct way. The correct way. The correct way. Okay? So that is method one. Method two is the direct-to-owner approach. So how can you go find owners around the United States, someone like me, that maybe wants to sell their apartment buildings? Well, the old school way of doing it, you'd go knocking doors and making things happen and go guerrilla style. That would be the old approach. The new approach with all the technologies and the systems is we developed our own software called realestateradar.ai. realestateradar.ai. And it has 130 million single family properties for flippers and wholesalers you can search for. Go direct to owners to get flips and wholesales and investors. It also has about 25 to 30 million apartment complexes and multifamily deals all over the United States. Pretty much takes all the lots, all the plots, and you can go direct to the owners. You can pick up cell numbers, emails, you can skip trace them, you can mail to them, you can do postcards, you can do letters, you can do anything. Categorize, create lists, put in pipelines, all kinds of things. And it overlays AI technology on the public data to give you likelihood that that property is going to sell in the next 12 months. And that way you can isolate your energy, focus on the deals that are more likely, pick up the phone and dial for dollars and go direct to the owners, someone like me, and get me to raise my hand, and then you bypass the brokers, you typically are going to get better deals. But we use the software. This is what we use to find our deals, and we'll wholesale them. We'll take some of them for ourselves. We'll divvy them out. All that stuff can happen. So that software has been very, very powerful for us. That is the direct to owner approach. Okay. Those are the two ways. Any questions on the direct to broker or the direct to owner approach before I move on? A lot seem overpriced due to the local inflation rates. That is correct, Alexander. James says they're on the market. That's why that's the problem. Yes, majority of the market is, I call it pre-market. It's not that it's off market, it's that it's pre-market. So they put everything together. It's going to go to the websites if it doesn't sell, but 80% of the time, that property's selling in that pre-market phase with the preferred list. Okay, preferred list. So it's really, really critical. Awesome. How's it going so far? Thumbs up if you like what you're seeing so far. Don't say anything if it sucks. No, I'm just kidding. Thumbs down if it stinks. Thumbs down if it stinks. Awesome. Cool. I'm glad you guys are liking it, because this is kind of like getting behind the scenes on solving a lot of these big belief systems that people have, right? I wish we had hours and hours and hours of time to really dive deep with you, but I'm trying to give you the high level of, hey, how do you switch your identity thoughts about this game? That's number one. We start in the beginning, moving the identity shift. And how do we shift that game for you? And then how do we move it through to solve some big kind of false belief patterns that a lot of people have about getting in and starting now? What's stopping you now? So that's the direct to owner approach. Okay. So the belief that deals are hard to find, the market's oversaturated, you got to do it together. You got to do it together. You got to do it together, right? If you do it alone, the deals are hard. If you do it together, you'll make things happen. Collaborations and partnerships. I don't know if anybody's ever shown you this, the difference between single family and the multifamily game. Single family, you're paid one to two ways. One to two ways. You get monthly cash flow, and then you get profits if you sell or refinance. Sale or refinance, you can get profits from that. Those are the two ways in single family. In multifamily, you're getting everything you get here, plus you get a bunch more. You get the cash flow, you get the profits, you get fees, acquisition fees, asset management fees, all the tax benefits, bonus depreciation, cost segregation. Would anybody like to know how to wipe out your taxes for the rest of your human existence? I just finished all my taxes. I'm paying zero this year. I paid zero for the last 8 years. This is year number 9. Zero. If you utilize the best tax benefits built into commercial properties, this is how you get away from the game. And it's all legal tax avoidance. Okay. Finder's fees, construction management fees, you get paid 5 to 8 different ways when you learn this skill set and you can execute, raising your skill level, solving big problems, get paid beautifully. That's why you're doing it, right? That's why you're doing it. Because if you have all the money and the resources, then you can go spend time doing what? Things you're most passionate about. For me, you know what they are. For you, you know what they are. But the money has to drive it. You need the resources to do it, okay? And this allows you to do it to where it's more as passive as possible. You build it and it's more passive as possible. Okay, let me walk you through a case study of a 31 unit deal. I had $19,000 out of pocket and owned a 31 unit multi-million-dollar apartment building in the Midwest. Let me walk through that. And let me show you how this deal works. So we bought this thing for $1,525,000. We put $400,000 in renovation dollars into this thing. Closing costs of $225,000. We were all in at $2.15 million in the deal. Okay. We went out and got a loan for $1,500,000, 70% loan, right? Keep the leverage low. Had 30% equity. That was $645,000. Now, I did not have that money. I don't expect anybody here to have all that money. It's very rare that you would. But this is how the game works. Brought in 10%. That was 64 grand from us. 90% of it from other people. This was about 7 investors. 7 people brought in the 581,000. Got an acquisition fee for 45 grand. 64,000 came in, 64 went out, 45 came in. 64 went out, 45 came in. I was out of pocket 19 grand. And this all was within 7 days of closing on this deal. Happens pretty quick. Money in, money out. Right? Acquisition fee, money in, 10%. And for this, 40% of the deal, right? They got 60% of the deal. They brought in 90% of the money. I brought in, see how I'm like 4Xing it right here? Bring in 10, get 40. Bring in 10, get 40. Plus you get all the fee structures and everything else. Your returns are astronomical. You're like 40% a year on your returns, on your money. And keep in mind, how much money are you looking to make? What's your monthly? Is it 10 to 20,000? Is it 20 to 50? It's all relative. But you know, if it's 10 to 20, it's 3 to 4 deals and you got it done. And that's how it works. Let's keep going. So what did I get for all that? What did I get for all that? 31 unit deal. Let's walk through the Burr method on this thing because this is what we did. 24 months later, right? The value was at 3.6 million. We increased it from $1.5 million with the reno in it, boosted that value. This was like pretty much a home run. Took it from that to 3.6 million bucks. We went and got a 70% loan on 3.6 million. That's $2.5 million. We paid off our previous loan, refinanced it, paid it off. We paid back all of our investors' money, of which we were included in that, by the way. Then we pocketed another $355,000 tax-free. Did you know that debt is tax-free money? Did you know that? Chime in the chat if you knew that debt was tax-free money. Okay, great. And the reason that it's tax-free money is because it's not seen as earned income by the IRS. Why? Think about it. Back to our game of money and moving money. The more money you move, the more tax benefits you get. So the more debt and money that I'm moving, the more tax benefits I get. That's how the game of money works. So debt's good as long as it's good debt against assets that are appreciating, right? You want assets, not liabilities. Big difference. Okay, big difference. So let's keep walking through it. So we got pocketed $355,000 tax-free. I got an asset management fee of 1% per month on the revenue. It's an asset management fee, not property management, asset management fee. 1% on the revenue. 40% of all the profits, 40% of all the cash flow. That was $2,000 a month for 5 years. That's $120,000. Net profits from the sale, $470,000. Made $590,000 on a $19,000 investment. I mean, you tell me where else and this is not abnormal, by the way. This is not abnormal, but keep in mind why this happens. I was able to take a skill set, go find great deals, put them together, structure them, manage them, run them, do all the sweat equity, raise my skill level. Now I'm extremely valuable. Because I solve big problems, now I get big bling bling. You see how that works? That's all it is. It's disproportionate to the actual work because of the skill set and the ability to do it. And this is all learned. You can learn this too. You will learn this. It's not hard, but you got to dig in, you got to make it happen. So my promise to you is this: how to buy a 10 to 30 unit apartment deal in the next 90 days with $20,000 out of pocket. And to get rid of these belief systems. So I think we solved this one. Give me a thumbs up if you think we showed you how to buy a 10 to 30 unit deal in the next 90 days with only $20,000 out of pocket. We broke that down. The belief that you need a lot of money, I think we nixed that one. The belief that it's too complex and it's for experts only, I showed you that you can be an absolute beginner. You just need to learn the skill set and you can go make it happen. You just got to commit. And then the last one is that deals are hard to find and the market's oversaturated only if you're looking in the wrong places and using the wrong process. But if you do it together, deals are easier to find. If you do it alone, deals are hard. That's the key to it. That's the key to it. How are you guys liking this so far? I think we're good. We're coming towards the end, so hang in there with me. We're almost there. We're almost there. Stand by. Cool. So a couple frequently asked questions I want to go through. Some last ones here. So let me put this up. One more second. Cool. So frequently asked questions on this is this. How do I raise money legally and confidently? Because that's usually people's biggest fear, is any kind of raising of money. Raising money sounds intimidating, especially with the SEC rules. If they get involved, people fear asking other people for money, right? They don't want to do people wrong, all of that stuff. So you want to lose your credibility. You want to attract investors. You need three things to raise money. You need a deal that makes financial sense. You need a pitch deck that helps explain what the deal is and what they get for their money. And then lastly, a process when somebody says, hey, I want to give you 25 grand. How do you bring that in? Put it into a bank account for the property. That is the three keys to raising the money legally and confidently. Another one, what if you mess up on the numbers? Well, that is why it's nice to have somebody hand-holding you or looking at the numbers while you're analyzing them to make sure your numbers look pretty good before you're making offers. Okay, that's why you want that. Because, yeah, you don't want to mess up on the numbers. This is something you need to learn how to analyze deals. And if you don't, you learn it, but then you have somebody holding your hand while you're doing it. And it becomes extremely valuable. Who's going to manage the properties? Third-party property managers. You just need to learn how to hire them correctly. And the process for hiring good property managers and how you do that and do it the right way. Is this every Tuesday? It depends. Sometimes we have it, sometimes we don't. Robert preaches that. Yes. Yes. I got all that. Beautiful. Okay. Hang in there with me. So if you guys want, I told you in the beginning, if you hang around, if you liked what you saw, just imagine, right? Imagine for a minute if you dropped in 3 days with me and rather than the high level stuff we went over, we dive into the weeds day by day and we dive into all the things and give you all of the things you need to ever even do this and run with it yourself this year. So I have a 3-day multifamily deal and a workshop coming up that you can be a part of. Okay, let me go over kind of what's included in that if you have interest. Okay, this is everything. It's a 90-day multifamily blueprint on how to find, fund, close your first 10 to 30 unit apartment deal in as little as $30,000 out of pocket. We're going to have full-blown live deal analysis and training. We're going to really underwrite these properties and show you how they get done. We're going to bring in money makers. I have capital guys coming in. I got brokers. I have lenders. I have property managers. I have all the people that are in the middle of it coming in for this live workshop. It's both virtual and it's in person. It's virtual and it's in person. You can join us live in person in the workshop in Las Vegas, Nevada. If you want to come, there's options for that. We're going to pop up in the chat real quick and then I'm going to go through it just so you understand what it is. But if you want to be a part of this thing, I'm going to give you guys the smokiness opportunity to do it. Okay. So here we go. You can click on this link in your chat. This is going out to everybody right now. So you'll see it in the chat and here in the Zoom. Okay. And we'll send it to you afterwards as well. We're going to go over creative financing, capital raising, strategies for structure, deals, raising money with the confidence. I'll have all the live experts there that I was talking about. We're going to give you an entire document vault. This has checklists, pitch decks, letters of intent, pretty much anything, deal analyzers. You'll get all the deal analyzers. Everything you can imagine, a 90-day action plan guide, the whole kit and caboodle in a document vault ready to go for you. We're also going to give you daily workbooks and all that stuff. Whether you're virtual or in person, you get it all. You get it all, okay? You're going to get access to my network and tools. It's worth thousands. So the workshop could easily be priced at $19.95. Easily, no problem. It's worth its weight in gold at that price, okay? Worth its weight in gold at that price. There's a reason we're giving out such a great value right now for what we're doing. The price is $149, but what we're doing right now, it's $97. It's 35% off. It's 35% off. And that's kind of the early bird setup on it. But what we're going to do, if you guys take action on it, we're going to make it $47, okay? And in order to get that, you're going to use this code on the checkout page, 50 off. 50 off in the coupon section. So let me share this. I'll show you what I'm talking about. If this comes up, you're going to launch the checkout. You can read through everything. We have an itinerary on there for you and everything on there. You can join it right there. Click on that. It's going to give you everything here. Fill out the information. You can choose the 3-day virtual or the 3-day in person. Okay, it's all right there. You can upgrade into the VIP boardroom with me where we're doing laser coaching one-on-one in between the sessions and private sessions. Okay, you can have all that set up for you in the VIPs. If you want to put the coupon in, this is where it goes. And this is going to be ending soon as part of our early bird, right? Because it's coming to an end on the early bird. If you want this super thing, it's going to have to happen like yesterday, because it's going to go back up to the 149. So you're going to click on that. It's going to take it off. It's going to give you the special here right now. If you use that coupon, 50 off. 50 off. The full itinerary. If you click that link, everything's on there. After the 3 days, there are more afterwards. No. I mean, if you want that, great, we can talk about it, but no, it's the 3 days, and then you're going to get everything at that 3-day event that you're going to need to go rock and roll with multifamily, okay? If you want to run with it on your own and make it happen. You're going to get all the tools, systems, knowledge, everything you're going to need to go execute, okay? Just to kind of go back on what you get, okay, what you get is all this that's going to come in. You'll see that on the landing page. If you click that page link, it's going to go through everything, the itinerary, all of that on there, the dates and all that stuff for it. All the dates. 90-day multifamily blueprint. You're going to get that. How do you find, fund, close your first 10 to 30 unit apartment deal in as little as $30,000 out of pocket? Live deal analysis and training. Real underwriting sessions so you know how to separate the money makers from the money pits on these deals. The creative financing, seller financing, capital raising, strategies to structure the deals, raise the money with confidence, all of that stuff. And then live expert interviews, the Q&As. I'm bringing in live brokers. They're going to be there live in person, the commercial brokers, all the lenders who lend the money on these things, capital partners, all the people. We have an inspiration panel coming on, property managers. Pretty much every component of buying an apartment building, the people are going to be there. People are going to be there. Any other questions as we finish up? That's coming through. Awesome. Looks like we had a couple of people already take it up on this deal. It's a smoking opportunity, guys. You know, worth $19.95, priced at $149. If you take action on that, you're going to get it at a 50 off. Use that code for a limited time, and you won't take the 97. You'll get it for 47. Okay, and we'll do that for you guys here and everybody online. Everybody online. Let me show you this one before you finish up. Let's do this because you guys will like this. Let's finish up with this. I'm going to show you this little video, little pizzazzy video. See if I can turn up the volume on it. Here we go. The entire capitalistic system is banked on movement of money.
But I have one client who only buys.
Go find 3 other deals that you want to see.
That's a great place to be from an investor perspective.
Almost 15 years at sea, got into real estate.
I don't have any experience with raising capital. I don't have any experience, anything else to do with multifamily properties.
And the reason why it works is because you're going to provide.
Investing was something that I always looked into, and then came across your thing and I dove into that.
What I'm going to do is kind of show you the high level of analyzing a deal.
I am deeply rooted into real estate. I wanted to scale my business into multifamily, and that was when I ran across Justin.
This is pre-market. I did exactly what Justin said.
I'm glad that we did this.
I really appreciate all of this. This is awesome.
It was great. I'd love to come back again.
That's valuable stuff.
You've had a great panel so far.
It's been great. Exactly why we joined.
There we go. This was a lot of fun. And take advantage of the opportunity. And don't hesitate. Here we go. Hope you enjoyed it. Take care, everybody.